Hi guys, welcome to Westminster Uncensored. I'm Michael Heaver.
I'm Patrick Christie.
And this is our first big show. Lots to talk about today. George Soros, Brexit good news, London knife crime. We're going to be talking about it all today. And Patrick, a landmark day as we do our first of these Westminster Uncensored shows you're going to be seeing.
Well look guys, thank you very much for tuning in. This show today encapsulates what we're all about here at Westminster. We're strong on law and order. We want to bring you the very latest from the European Union and what's going on there. And of course, we're talking about loads more. So please do get in touch, give us your comments. We're doing the news with you here. It's an interactive form of news. Throw your comments in and we want to engage with you. So thank you very much for tuning in to the first ever Westminster Uncensored.
Yes guys, dive in, get involved. This is going to be Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 1 o'clock on Twitter, YouTube and Facebook. And let's not waste any time guys, let's dive straight into one of the big issues of our time, something we at Westminster have been talking a lot about, we'll continue to talk about, the London epidemic, knife crime, gun crime, violence. We saw at the beginning of this year, over the New Year's period, 4 separate knife attacks, 4 young men stabbed to death within a 24-hour period. And really for us, it's the lack of outrage. Yeah. Can you imagine, for example, if 4 people had died over the New Year celebrations from God forbid, a firework or something like that? The outrage, the national scandal. Yeah. This has happened, and we've seen much more since we're going to go into. And yet the lack of outrage that we've seen, I think, is appalling. And it's something that we at Westminster are going to keep highlighting, because what we're seeing in London at the moment is an absolute disgrace.
It is, absolutely. Guys, the worrying level of statistics that we're seeing here is absolutely shocking, and it's not just in London. Across England and Wales, we've seen violent crimes going up by 20%, and that's just in the last year alone. So knife crimes up 21%, gun crimes up 20%, and we've seen loads of forms of violent crime. Robberies increased by 29%. These aren't little numbers here. These aren't little gains. This is a massive national epidemic that we're seeing in violent crime, and our politicians are doing precious little. And we just look at the London gun crime epidemic, for example. These are just firearm offences in the capital city, Britain's capital.
So this is this is the London Assembly Police and Crime Committee you're seeing. By the way, you can go and see all these stories on westminster.com. They basically came out and exposed a report highlighting how since 2014, the number of firearm offences in London has spiked by 44%
Mental.
In the era ending October 2017. 59% of offenders aged 25 or younger. Interestingly, weapons being brought in from Eastern Europe they found as well. But it's this whole constant, we're seeing story after story, incident after incident of young people being stabbed, young people being shot, and it's not being talked about, it's not being treated with the outrage that it should be.
But guys, the power is in your hands to bring this to people's attention. We've got 870 of you watching live at the minute, which is a great start for us. Thank you very much. If you're all watching, please do share, please do give us a like, a big thumbs up, and of course you can support Westminster now, so don't forget that. We rely on you guys.
/support to go and support what we're doing.
Make sure you check us out and help us keep fighting the good fight. Now guys, I'm just going to take a moment to read out some of your comments. Well done.
We've had some good ones already.
This is from Wayne Walker saying, well done guys for highlighting a very serious problem. Is Khan still against stop and search? That's from John Tandy. We're going to come on to that later. And so guys, there's a load of your comments coming in here, and that's great. Duncan Mark, you just saying it's absolutely disgraceful. And some good comments about our new refreshed background here. Michael Hampton saying you look more professional, guys. Well, thank you very much, Michael. We took all your advice on board.
It's been a long time coming, guys, and it's really important that we talk about a range of issues. And as someone touched on Sadiq Khan there, the things are so bad now that Sadiq Khan, as Mayor of London, has actually come out and said that he wants to see an increase, or there's going to be an increase in London in stop and search. And it's an absolutely astounding thing, because this is a guy that said before he became mayor in 2015, if I'm mayor, I'll do all in my power to further cut its use. He's been mugged by reality, guys. Even Sadiq Khan now, as mayor of London, has come in and said, actually, now there'll be a significant increase. And there needs to be. And there needs to be, guys, and I'm laying this out now, because we have been, over the last few months, going through all of the things that have been going on in London on the streets. Some things you don't hear about. But this is what life is now like for people in some parts of London. Just the other day, February the 15th, we saw a 17-year-old stabbed to death in East London, in Canning Town. We did a story over the weekend, 4 youngsters from one boxing club in London killed in the last 12 months. We've seen, I think it's Sunday last night, a 19-year-old stabbed to death in Kensington. We've seen a taxi driver recently shot dead in a targeted attack. We've seen a man in life-threatening condition after being stabbed outside Carroll on the Hill tube station. That was February the 13th. On February the 12th we did a story. 19-year-old stabbed to death in Streatham in London. 3 men died of stab wounds in London in just 48 hours on February the 5th, 2018. Guys, I could go on and on and on. Story after story of young men being stabbed, young men being shot. We've seen acid attacks, delivery drivers refusing to go to parts of London after certain times at night now. This is what's going on. This is what matters. These are young people's lives. And this isn't what's getting the attention. And that's what we're going to be doing on Uncensored.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I've had a comment that looks like it's coming all the way from America. Dave Trigg saying, you British are losing your country. You better wake up to that very soon. And this is what all the problem that Michael's highlighted there. Me reporting for Westminster, it seems like every day I'm reporting on a young man or woman being stabbed to death in the capital streets. And if the capital city is a representation of your country as a whole, well, then I'm afraid Britain's in a mess. And the thing that really gets me about this, the thing that really winds me up, is that the politicians have the power to deal with this. The politicians have the power to handle this. And they don't. Why? Because it's not a politically easy topic to think about. And crucially is because they are so detached from the general public, because they don't live in the areas where these stabbings are taking place. They don't follow the news as carefully as we do. They don't realise the scale of the epidemic, and crucially, it's not their son and daughter getting stabbed to death, it's no one they know getting stabbed to death, and so they sit on their hands and they don't do anything. And Sadiq Khan and the Mayor of London is very pleased to have green spaces, for example. Well, instead of having more green spaces, Sadiq, why don't we have one big safe space, the capital city?
The priorities are all wrong, guys, and this is what really annoys us at Westminster. You see some of the garbage that people talk about now. You know, they get offended about this, they want to ban that. What can be more important than an epidemic of violence that's sweeping the capital? What can be more important than saving lives? What can be more important? When did you last see a politician in this country turn around and say, we need more prisons, we need harsher sentences, we need a stronger message? You never hear it. You never hear it. And when you've got someone like Sadiq Khan for Labour who went into office pledging to cut stop and search, and then you realise in office he's been mugged by reality and has now come out in favour of increasing the stop and search, you realise what a mess we're in. You realise how important this is, that we need to get on top of it. And just to give you one more incident, I mean, it's getting more and more out of control. The February the 2nd, a man was stabbed at London Bridge tube station in the morning. Just out of control, guys. You're now seeing this happen in tube stations, seeing it happen on the streets. We are going to keep highlighting this at Westminster, guys, because for me, law and order is a subject where politicians are failing to protect some of the people that they should be looking out for. We need more police on the streets. We need tougher sentences. If you agree, give us a thumbs up. If you agree, give us a retweet, because we're going to keep highlighting this at Westminster. Well, you're going to keep hearing these stories on Uncensored.
Some good comments coming in. Dan Summers, thank you very much for being on the show. Dan, it's a pleasure to have you here. He's saying that it's not just a London issue. There have been over 15 stabbings in his city. He says it's in the West Midlands. Ricky Lambert's just saying there's too many victims. And this is it, you see, and also Robin van der Plug, sorry if I've mispronounced your name there, Robin, but it's a cracking name, saying the mainstream media is hiding the truth. And this is it, you don't see this kind of level of vitriol in the mainstream media about what is a very, very pressing issue. The fact that there's kind of basically young bodies lining the streets of the capital because of political inaction, which is exactly why you should be tuning in to Westminster and supporting us, because we want to highlight the problems of law and order in this country and bring it to you. Please, guys, as well, we've got 830 of you. Don't forget to give us a like, a share, give us a big thumbs up.
Yeah, keep the comments rolling in, guys. We've got Nev JC saying, love the backdrop. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. So you've got a few legends on there and a few not-so-legends as well, if you can spot them.
We'll talk them through who's on it.
We've got a couple of favourites there, haven't you? You've got Trump and Nigel, you've got the Mogster, you've got Paul Joseph Watson. I mean, it's a leftist nightmare here in the middle. And then on the periphery, you've got some of the more peripheral figures, I think, of politics. But yeah, the great thing is, guys, we can do so much now because we have this technology, because we have you guys retweeting, sharing our stuff, helping to grow our audience. It's an absolutely fantastic time. Uncensored is going to be, as I say, Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 1 o'clock. So if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, visit westminster.com and you'll see us every week. And we're just going to...
Now, we're moving on to a topic that I think will get you all hot under the collar. It's everyone's favourite Hungarian billionaire, George Soros. Now, there was a lot being made about the fact that there was foreign money, foreign meddling in things like the Brexit referendum and stuff like that. Well, actually, everyone thought that money was kind of emanating out of the Kremlin, didn't they? But it turns out George Soros, Jean-Claude Juncker's mate, has had a bit to do with it himself, hasn't he? George Soros, as we can see on the screen in front of you right now, has originally pledged around £400,000 to a group called Best for Britain. That is a group specifically designed to stop Brexit. He then doubled down on that when he was pressed on it and threw another 100 grand in it. So George Soros here, as we've seen, has got some financial clout, and he's been pumping his money into groups that really are kind of affecting British democracy and trying to influence British voters. But who is this man really, and who is the man behind the money? Well, we've dug out a little video for you from our Westminster archive here, and it's something I think you might find very interesting about Mr. Soros.
In the last 2 years, you've been blamed for financial collapse of Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, and Russia.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Are you that powerful?
No, I think there's a great misunderstanding. I am basically there to make money. I cannot and do not look at the social consequences of what I do. As a competitor, I've got to compete to win. As a human being, I am concerned about the society in which I live.
Which George Soros am I talking to now? The amoral George Soros or the moral George Soros?
It's one person. It's one person who at one time engages in amoral activities and at the rest of the time tries to be moral.
Well, guys, that was just some stuff about George Soros. It's interesting to note that we've had a lot of comments flying in about Soros, just saying that basically, so Soros is not one thing that you would want for democracy. People have called him vile, which obviously we can't necessarily endorse here.
Is it who needs a go up one?
No, so yeah, there we go.
Carl
Wright saying so.
Just needs a cat on his lap.
Absolutely, Soros basically saying Shane Sweeting, saying Soros's money can't buy me, and that's interesting there. Soros is a real Bond villain. That's my favourite there from Caroline Bean. Guys, please do keep your comments rolling in. It's an interactive form of news, but this is what we're talking about, isn't it? With foreign money actually being involved and influence in British politics.
And now you had this incredibly creepy follow-up in The Guardian.
Bit weird.
Which, you know, the headline alone gave me the heebie-jeebies, quite frankly. Only the EU can break Facebook and Google's dominance, claims George Soros. All sorts of wacky stuff in here, guys.
Yeah.
Basically referring to social media giants as a public menace, which regulators need to protect society against them. You know, this idea that the social media is some sort of big danger, of course. It's only because of social media that chaps like us get to have a bit of a platform and talk to you guys directly about the thing that we think are really important. But it's this whole idea, I think, that cracked me up about it, of George Soros talking about this dangerous influence and people being manipulated while he's dumping hundreds of thousands of pounds of his foundation into stopping Brexit and all the rest of it. And they're worried, I think, about little old you know, media companies springing up and little Facebook pages and the influence that we're now seeing of people across social media being able to push alternative narratives, things that perhaps you don't see on TV, things that perhaps you don't read about in newspapers, and really push different agendas, different ideas. And guys, that's what we're trying to do with this show. And it's hearing from you and having that direct contact.
And it's important as well, guys, because we've heard a lot, didn't we, about the whole Russian meddling in Brexit. Well, that got exposed. It got exposed as total garbage because Twitter themselves came out and said there were actually 49 Twitter accounts linked to Russia, and they tweeted 0.005% of the complete output during the EU referendum. But the mainstream media would have you believe that that's a rampant, massive issue, basically on the basis of pretty much no evidence. In fact, the Guardian and Observer journalist Carol Cadwallader actually won an award for her expose on the whole Russian scandal, which doesn't seem to have amounted to much. Yet, that same newspaper seems perfectly happy to give George Soros, a man who has actually directly influenced British democracy, a platform to write an opinion column about essentially how we should censor social media. The world's gone mad.
Guys, if you're enjoying the show, do give us a thumbs up, do give us a retweet, do visit westmonster.com/support to support what we are doing. As I say, just to remind you, Uncensored is going to be Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays, 1 o'clock UK time across the board. And hey, we may have other things to follow up as well.
Absolutely.
Just turning to something a bit different now. You know, social justice warriors, we see this sort of politically correct nonsense around a lot now. There's a tweet last night that was flagged up, just quite unbelievable actually, from the leader of the, I think it's the Women's Equality Party, so Sophie Walker. Hey BAFTAs, think we need more white men on stage? Not. And Peter Whittle, the UKIP Assembly member, came back. Oh, so it's not just about men then, it's specifically white men, racism much, careful, your agenda's slipping. I don't know about you guys, every single time you turn on the TV now, or read newspaper all the time, you know, there's some sort of identity politics going on, whether it's racial, whether it's gender, someone's being outraged about something, someone wants to ban something. And it's just that, I think it's absolutely obscene, frankly, that you're seeing this level of identity politics. I think most ordinary people nowadays just want to get on about their lives, just want to crack on, just want to be treated equally. And yet we see this incredibly divisive rhetoric sometimes from groups like this. I mean, the Women's Equality Party, just to put it into perspective, got £152,000 I've seen for general election, actually ended up getting less votes than the likes of the Monster Raving Loony parties, the BNP and the Greens and all these sorts of
groups. They got almost as many votes as a fish finger that stood against Tim Farron in West London Lonsdale.
So it's just all of this constant division that we're seeing. This constant identity politics. I think most people, banning things, banning grid girls, and you can't say that. And we've seen adverts being banned, cheeky adverts from Poundland. And it's all been. And I just think we're going to make a stand against this, guys. We're going to point out how ridiculous this is. We're going to laugh about the pathetic approach some are taking, constantly trying to divide society along the lines of race or gender or whatever. At the end of the day, let's just crack on, let's treat everyone equally, and let's spin this politically correct garbage.
Mandy Carter agrees to you, saying, why don't they treat us all the same? And Brian Cobbold got in touch to say political correctness should be banned. And Marcus Fu is a regular on the show. Marcus, thank you very much for joining us today. Just saying they have a narcissistic personality disorder. And Francis Gray as well, saying political correctness gone mad. But this kind of thing we're seeing all too often now. You will have seen it, as Michael alluded to there, with the grid girls, with feminism. Feminism now appears to be a question of how many women can we put out of a job. I think that seems to be the way it's going. But guys, we've also seen some far left attempts at basically kind of fascist style censorship of free speech and of democratic debates and discourse. Jacob Rees-Mogg. First off, I'm just going to say Jacob Rees-Mogg, and anybody who likes the Mogg.
We always have a lot of support around him.
Yeah,
don't we?
let's see what you guys make of Jacob Rees-Mogg. Can we get a big thumbs up for Jacob Rees-Mogg, and let us know whether or not you think he could be running the country. But anyway, Rees-Mogg seems to be followed around the country by these quite loud, balaclava-clad, sunglasses-wearing, shady-looking far-left lot, doesn't he?
A bunch of saddos, really, aren't they?
Well, they are, really. Have you got nothing? Well, they obviously haven't got jobs, otherwise presumably they wouldn't be there. But Jacob Rees-Mogg has to deal with this now, and we've seen it in Bristol, for example, when it actually turned a bit violent. He'll go to give a speech, and they'll turn up with their banners and everything and just shout at him so that he gets no platform. Now, that is censorship, and that's almost fascism. But Westminster attended an event in Manchester at the Tory party conference, and we're just going to show you the clip now, and I'll talk you through it a bit afterwards. But this is what happened when Jacob Rees-Mogg was confronted by some radical lefties in Manchester.
What would you like to ask? All right, what would you like to ask?
And your disgusting views are not welcome here.
What would you like to
get
ask
out of here.
What do you disagree with me about?
With everything you have to say regarding abortion rights, women's rights, austerity, everything.
Okay, but specifically.
You're a person.
Well, we may disagree on things, but just because you disagree with somebody doesn't make them a bad person. The two are separate.
Mate, the things you are saying are harming people's lives. There are people who are dying because of the things that you are advocating. So it's not about a simple disagreement.
I don't agree with that. I think that the policies the government is implementing are actually making people's lives better.
Really? So a million people depending on food banks is making people better.
The
number of people in poverty is making people better.
The highest number of people in employment in our history.
Precarious employment.
Not precarious.
We're the only advanced economy with depreciating wages. What are you on about people's lives are better? You're ruining people's lives.
So I was there that day, guys. I shot that video footage at the Tory party conference there in Manchester. And what happened was, just as Jacob Rees-Mogg was about to take to the stage, there was a load of shouting and hollering from the back. This mob, and that's all really they can be called, this kind of frenzied mob rock up with their banners and their flags. And it's interesting, they're all saying the same thing. You're not welcome here. Go home. You're full of hate. You're costing lives. And it seems like the same things are popping up time and time again. But we are getting a lot of love for the Mogg, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, Patrick, you've triggered quite a lot of people here. Quite a lot of people triggered by the Mogg.
Yeah.
All hail that on Twitter I get Georgie's dad. All hail the Mogster.
Moggy, Moggy, Moggy.
Moggy for PM, says Clara. Chicken. By the way, I love some of these nicknames. Stop the EU with Love the Mogg, absolutely next PM. And every single one of these streams we do is quite phenomenal, actually. Without fail, whenever we mention this guy, the sort of amount of support is quite phenomenal, and it's something we're going to keep sort of pushing, because I think it's very, very interesting to see someone gather this level of a personal following. It doesn't happen very often. I mean, you think Nigel Farage, a few people like that. There was clearly a lot of Mogg love out there. The Mogg mentality is real.
Faye Winterton, I'd vote for the Moggy. Chris Smith, go Mogg, go. Caroline Breen, love the Mogg. Rees-Mogg is a brilliant man. That's from D. Byrne. JRM for PM from Linda Godman. Guys, we've got so many of you watching now and so many of your comments flying in. Please keep them coming in thick and fast. If you are just joining us, this is Westminster Uncensored. This is the first show of its kind. And what we want to do is bring the news to you, do the news with you. We're talking about Jacob Rees-Mogg, we're talking about Brexit, we're highlighting law and order, and of course we're talking about the EU, all the things that matter to you.
That's it, let's get together, guys. You know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, grab a cuppa, grab a cookie, grab a brew, let's sit down, grab a pint maybe, I don't know.
Hey,
if you're on your work break, whatever. But if you aren't joining us live, you can obviously watch these all back and visit westmonster.com. You can see all of our shows and interviews and all that there. But we hope to see you a couple of times a week. Lots of stuff going on, and we're now going to lead into, I think, we're talking about this intolerant far left.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So you might have seen this story at...
this is disgusting.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrendous, really. So look, we're talking about well, I call them the Great Unwashed, but some people decide to call them the far left. These people rocked up at, you couldn't make this up, they rocked up at a Winston Churchill themed cafe, okay, to basically go on these rants about the fact that he was racist, and go on about Britain's colonial history, and what they no doubt feel was making a very hard-hitting point about Britain's past. But of course the irony appears to be lost on these people, these absolute idiots, and I don't mind calling them that. Do they not realise that they wouldn't be free to essentially ruin people's breakfast at this lovely little cafe if it wasn't for Winston Churchill? Do they not realise if it wasn't for Winston Churchill, they would be living in a Nazi-occupied German colony? I mean, is this irony completely lost on them? I find it absolutely mental, and instead of maybe devoting their time to putting on a silly little beret, writing a rubbish speech, and then parading around central London and exposing themselves to the idiots that they are, why don't they watch a history documentary, perhaps, about the evils of Hitler and then the man that overcame him? And I don't think they'd be as stupid enough to go and protest after that.
Yeah, and I think the worrying thing is, guys, it's the complete intolerance from these far left mugs. It's basically, it's not along the lines of, well, we disagree with you. It's the attempt to shut down. Who on earth turns up to a speech masked up and barges in? Who turns up to a cafe and harasses people? I mean, this is very alarming behaviour, and to see this growing intolerance in Britain is something, again, that we at Westminster are going to stay on top of. Because frankly, I think these people are appalling. I think they're disgusting. And I think this intolerance, we have to keep a lid on it, because I don't want to see it go one step further where they start smashing properties up. What are they going to do next? Start physically going in, trying to shut down debate because they don't agree with it. These people need to be kept an eye on. I think it's potentially dangerous. And we saw, by the way, that we confirmed that there was a police presence. Mogg giving another speech at Bristol University. And the police, how sad is this? The police had to go and provide a presence for a politician to go and give a speech.
It's crazy. A politician who, and these people, also what a lot of these people do is just lie, don't they? So they'll go up and say, Jacob Rees-Mogg's policies are killing people. They'll call him a racist. It's like, now, I very much doubt Jacob...
Exactly balanced, is it?
You know, I very much doubt that Jacob Rees-Mogg has ever killed anyone. And certainly I don't think if you ever listen to anything he's ever said, he's ever been racist at all. So these people are basically just trying to fill people's airwaves with lies, and I think it's very, very damaging for society. Sean Creamer, sorry, just to pile in there, Michael, saying Churchill is awesome. Absolutely, and it really is. These guys are very, very short-sighted, aren't they?
Vanessa saying you guys are great. No, you're great. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much. And if you're enjoying what we're doing here, give us a like, give us a retweet, visit westmonster.com/support, support our work. And remember, Wednesday's the next one. Same time, same place. Another one on Friday. We are going non-stop now, 3 times a week, uncensored.
Well, here we go. Chris Herson as well, just saying he's tuning in live from Austria, so our international audience is building. Guys, please do pile in and support us. We do need you guys to help us really hit home to the issues that matter for you. We're looking at British culture, we're looking at Brexit, we're looking at law and order.
Cheeky follow there as well, by the way.
We're obviously looking at the EU as well. These are things that we want. We're going to be bringing you stuff the mainstream media won't, and we're going to be highlighting all that for you. So please do get involved and support us.
Now, we're going to always try and leave you with a smile on your face at the end of each show, because look, there's a lot of doom and gloom, and we're not going to turn away from that. We're not going to shy away from that. We're going to highlight what is going on in the world. But we're going to try and leave you with a smile on your face. So, we are going to try and highlight Brexit good news.
Hey.
It's not stuff that you necessarily hear about all that much from some quarters, because believe it or not, a lot of the Ramonas that said this, that and the other was going to happen, and the sky was going to fall in if the country dared to vote leave, don't particularly want to admit that they got it catastrophically, completely and utterly wrong. So we look at just a couple of stories here, some from last week, some new ones. Just start off, Citigroup. Basically, they're setting up what they call an innovation centre. And where are they doing it? They're doing it in London. Their chief exec saying City continues to invest in London, a key hub for both cutting-edge technological talent and some of our largest investor clients.
Absolutely.
That comes hot off the back, by the way. Not a lot of people, I don't think, heard about this as much as they should have. Forbes named the UK the best country in the world to do business for the first time ever. I mean, this isn't exactly the sky falling in, is it? This isn't exactly the complete calamity that we were promised, and there's more to come, Patrick.
Well, absolutely, there is. And just quickly, I'm just going to say that someone's got in touch. Your comment has whizzed down so far, I can't remember your name, but basically saying, this is better than the BBC 1 o'clock fake news, and this is why we're doing it. Make sure you tune in for the news that really matters to you without any kind of rubbish whatsoever at 1 o'clock Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays. But guys, yes, there's been more Brexit good news because we do want to leave you with a smile on your face. A poll has come out. 63% of UK business leaders support Brexit. Now, you wouldn't have heard about that, would you, if you just follow what the CBI says and what Project Fear says? Actually, 63% of board-level business leaders in Britain say they personally support Brexit. That's mental, isn't it? Because we were all led to believe that bits of London would start crumbling off and falling into the Thames. It would be left with some kind of Neolithic apocalyptic wasteland in London after Brexit. It turns out 63% of board-level business leaders voted for the bloody thing.
And it keeps coming. We've got the Japanese bank Sumitomo Mitsui, the latest to commit to significant, and thank you very much, significant investment in Brexit Britain, due to take over 3 floors and 160,000 square foot of a huge new building in Liverpool Street. And guess how long the lease is for? 20 years.
Hey.
Decades, right? So this isn't, you know, we know that the government policy at the minute, although we see how it unfolds, is leave the customs union, leave the single market, leave the European Union, leave the whole thing. Yet, we're seeing businesses going in with 20-year leases, investing in Brexit.
Absolutely.
Again, you won't hear about this in some quarters because it doesn't fit the narrative. But this is the reality. Look at the reality. Separate reality from diabolical 15-year forecasts. I'll point out again, economists often can't get the projections right for months. Yet we're meant to believe these Project Fear forecasts of over a decade ahead of time. And it's a joke, isn't it? Look what's actually happening.
This always cracks me up. These high-level, high-grade economists were not able to pick up the global economic crash that we saw, which is something that you would have thought maybe they would have seen coming, although did they deliberately not, because a lot of them made a lot of money about it. They didn't accurately predict what would happen immediately in the wake of Brexit, but they have the temerity and the brass neck to stick their heads above the parapet and lie to you or tell you what is going to happen to Britain's economy in 15 years' time. I mean, have they been consulting Mystic Meg? Where have they got this crystal ball from? The World Bank, here's some more positive news for you. The World Bank,
last one, I think, to wrap it up.
Absolutely. The World Bank has come out and said that Britain is still the best place in the world, best place out of all the EU's major economies to do business. And long may it last.
Guys, if you've enjoyed this first Uncensored, give us a retweet, give us a like, go to westminster.com/support and support us. We will see you Wednesday, 1 o'clock, same place, same time. We hope to see you then. Thank you very much for joining us.
Take care, guys.